OpenAI just released GPT Strawberry OI preview. This is a new AI model they released today, September 12th. And here is the paper. So basically, they mentioned that it has better reasoning now. So it's a lot smarter and it'll take more time to process your prompt and give you a better response. They've also released this OI mini model that seems to do a lot better with coding. This is the O1 mini, and here it is compared to the bigger model, which this mini is a lot more cost efficient. So it costs less, but performs as well on the math and coding evaluations. So you can see that they've compared all of the models, and the mini has done better in some of these evaluations. So for code forces, this is a coding evaluation, it's done better. And then for the other ones, it's either done almost as good or a little bit worse for this cybersecurity one. It looks pretty promising for coding. And then here are some other math related benchmarks where it's done a little bit worse, but you guys have to realize that the cost is significantly less. I think for coding, it should be pretty promising, but yeah. And the speed mentioned in this paper is a lot faster than the bigger model, but they both came to the same answer, but it answered it like 3 to 5 times faster. So yeah, that's it for the performance. Let's get into actually testing if it can find profitable ideas with this new model. I just wanted to mention that it's currently available on ChatGPT for all pro members. I bought the pro member just to experiment for you guys, but it's available for pro members. I think the API version is not available unless you are a tier 5 API member, which means that you have to spend more than $1,000 per month on API credits. And yeah, they're planning to roll out this model to everyone in the next few weeks. So I think if you want to use it, just buy the pro version, but if not, just watch YouTube videos and see how good it is. Let's get into the actual performance. I've already pasted in some micro SaaS ideas here. This is the previous model released months ago. I wanted to compare the results with the same input. So basically what I did is I had a list of like ideas that I got off of Exploding Insights with all like the price and revenue. I told it to give the most profitable SaaS ideas from this list of problems, then break down how I would build each one. The only call is this prompt could have been better, but I just wanted to go fast and see how the performance was. So I pasted it into this chat, which is O1 preview, and you can see that it has this reasoning step here, which it only thought for 8 seconds, and it steps through what it was thinking, and it gave this long list of micro SaaS ideas plus how it would build it. You can see that it has a problem here, the solution, and then how it would build it. Off of first glance, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, the prompt could be improved and you could tell it to be more specific on the SaaS idea. So this was a list of pattern design related problems. The first one is the AI powered seamless pattern generator to generate basic patterns, and then it goes through all of this steps to build it. And then the next one is a logo to pattern. So I think this is like a decent idea. Online seamless pattern design tool, pattern licensing marketplace, online sewing pattern creator with CAD integration, design to print automation service. So yeah, like here are all ideas. And then here is the comparison to the older model released months ago. So you can see that I pasted in the same input, but there's no reasoning step, right? So here it has a 8-second reasoning step that it processes the question and how it would solve it. In the older model, it doesn't have that. The actual response is not as detailed. I told it to list how it would break down and build each idea. Here it has research and development, user UI, backend development features. It's super detailed of how it would build it. And it has it for every idea that it generated. If you compare it to the older model, it's a little bit broad where it just gives 4 steps and it's not as detailed. So here it tells you to do the UI, do the backend, and then here are the additional features. In the older model, it's like really broad and not as useful. That was the first thing I noticed. The other thing is in terms of the ideas. So the ideas were somewhat the same. It gave the same idea, which is a marketplace for pattern licensing, which is what the newer model also gave. So I think the idea, same for both, but the newer model definitely was much more detailed. I made this sheet of profitable business ideas that you can start over a weekend. So it's a list of manually curated ideas that are not only profitable and validated, but also ideas that are low maintenance and stuff that you can start with no money. I'm going to be updating this sheet every month. All you need to do is just go to the first link in the video, put in your email, and then you should get access to this. So let's do one more example of generating ideas with the newer models. I'm in Exploding Insights Pro, and basically what we can do is we can just find a category, and then let's just find problems or pain points, and then ask the newer model to generate ideas and how we would build it. If we go to brand, voice, and tone, scroll down and see the problems with the lifetime revenue already made on Fiverr, but we can say we're really interested in this problem. Let's paste it into the new preview. Here's the problem. Give me ideas to solve this problem with a product. And then I'll tell it how I can build it if I was a beginner programmer. Hopefully the fact that I told it to imagine that I'm a beginner programmer, it'll be like more specific and like use language that's more tailored towards people that may not know how to code. So you can see it's thinking through all of the different steps. This is something new in the newer model. It's mapping out the solution, generating ideas, crafting mission clarity, defining features and choices. It has this intro, which is not that useful. So develop a web application that helps companies create clear and compelling mission and vision statements through guided questionnaires and AI-powered suggestions. Honestly, first off, you can use this model to plan out the entire project and then take this step, bring it into Cursor, right? Just copy and paste this entire step into Cursor and then tell Cursor to implement each one. I see a scenario where you use this model to plan out your project and then have Cursor with Claude code it. Like, how do you build this project, right? So that's the reasoning and planning step, which I think this model is really good at. It's a lot better than Claude or the other model. I would use this to plan out the actual project, and I'll probably make another video of just doing that, where I use it to plan it and then use Cursor to actually code it. But you can see that it has like the steps like plan your project, choose your stack, set up your environment, build a backend. Here, it even tells you like all the Get API. So the Get API, Post API, and connect it to a database. What would be interesting is if we tell it to actually design the database models plus design the API routes. If it could do that plus give it to Claude, I think that would be super useful. So what you can do is, let's say I plan to code in Django and Vue. Tell me how plan out the database models and API routes that I will need. Be super specific because I will be giving. Okay, so I made this prompt to tell it to code out the entire project in Django and Vue and to give the database models plus API routes. These are the two biggest things it can help with, because a lot of other stuff like payments should be handled by your boilerplate code already. If it can do the model plus the API route, this will be super useful. And what you can do is you can just like review it yourself, then give it to Cursor. It's going through all the steps. I think this might take anywhere from a minute to 2 minutes, especially if it's as detailed as this. You can see that it's laying out all the models, structuring the models, formatting the database models. I think it's important if you note the actual framework and library that you use or the programming language, because that will probably differ based on how it plans stuff out. So being as specific as possible will be super useful. Here it's doing the database model plus the API routes. Let's see. So it's giving the models. So it's saying a username, email, password, first name, last name. I think this is fine. It has the company profile. I think we should be as specific as possible of like what we need from the company, especially when we're giving instructions in the beginning. It has all of the database models here, which is pretty good. And then let's look at the API routes. So it has a API route to register the user. Obviously, this probably isn't needed if we already have it handled in our code, but it's useful that it's planning this stuff out. A lot of this probably is not needed, like the register, login are not needed if we already have it done. We should be specific and just tell it to only design the project, like the new business requirements. So it has the company profile. This is pretty good. It has the response JSON as well. I think that will be useful. It has a bunch of post and get requests. This is a way more detailed and longer response than with the other OpenAI models. So that's pretty good. It even has the front end routes. So it has a / dashboard, company profile. Okay, so that's pretty good. So the way I would probably improve the prompt is by telling it to not have any information or not have any suggestions related to user registration, because we already have that done. All the other stuff is pretty good because it's helping define the models. And then obviously, if you need to improve or change some stuff, you can do that. Also, you can give it a guideline of how it should follow the API design. Yeah, this video is going a bit long. I would say like this is definitely worth it to test. I'll probably make a few more videos of designing and creating actual apps with this new model, but the first glance is that it's definitely a lot better and worth to just try out. So yeah, I will see you guys later.